Hi everybody, I am Lady Stars on Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for January 29th through February 4th. Now, I really want, before I get into this week directly, I just really feel that I need to come out and be blunt about how important this next 2 weeks is. This next 2 weeks, okay, by February 18th, Chiron is going to be moving into the universal first house of Aries. For those of you who don't follow astrology or know anything about that or follow me in general, Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the gatekeeper of wholeness. Now, it's just gone through all 12 cycles. It's been in Pisces for a long time. It's about to start a brand new cycle. Now, see, I say this because I cannot put enough emphasis on how important this next 2 weeks is for all of you, for all of mankind in general. And the reason I say that, and I'm going to get deeper into it when I get into the astrology, but from what I'm being given from Spirit and everything, these next 2 weeks are very powerful 2 weeks. And it does have to do with Chiron's movement. And then we'll have to do with that next movement when Uranus moves. But this is a very powerful time because you know how many astrologers all speak about, we're starting to make those changes that are going to affect the next 20 years of your life. Yes, it will affect those next 20 years of your life. And it will start off with the first 7 or 8 and with the relationships that you are putting in your life right now. And then that will affect those 20 years. However, this movement by Chiron is more of what's going to change the next 100 years of mankind. And the question that Spirit gives me is, well, what exactly are you pouring into your life right now? Because that's going to make an assessment towards those changes that are going to affect those first 7 years, 7, 8 years, and then the original 20 that everyone's speaking about. But what are you pouring into your life right now? Because that is dealing with the preset of Chiron making that move, which in the long run is going to be spinning a new direction on mankind in general over the next 100 years. And the changes that we are going to be making as mankind in general. See, Spirit gives me a little, they confuse me a little bit. It took me a little bit of time to get to understand this. They give me for this week, but it's not just this week. It has so much more to do with just this week or the next 2 weeks in general. They give me Zion in Hebrew, but then they give me the water bearer, which is Aquarius symbol. But they're like, not so much Aquarius in general. It's the symbol. It's the understanding of what the water bearer is. The water bearer is pouring waters from the higher, above energy into the lower energy. Zion speaks to us in a similar way, is what Spirit is trying to give me. It's what we need to sustain ourselves in a healthy, properly way. In a healthy way. But it also speaks to us of the sword. I'm trying to get to where I have it written down for this week, for all of my little information I give myself. It speaks to us of the sword. It's also the scepter. And it speaks to us of cutting away of energy. But it is about returning of light. And this is what that water bearer of Aquarius, that symbol, speaks to us of too. It's the healthy water is being poured down here into, our world. And learning to merge it with our world in a healthier way. So, Zion, I cannot pronounce it, I apologize. It is a Hebrew letter in the Hebrew alphabet, but they give it to me in such an old text. See, and this is why I go back to the Torah and I kind of wander all over for the information that Spirit's giving me so that I can comprehend better what I'm giving you. but it's a feminine energy. However, like I said, it's the sword, it's the scepter, it's cutting away. It is returning of light. It is light coming from above to here, below. It's bringing that energy forward. And that's why I said these next 2 weeks before Chiron moves, what are you pouring into your life is the question. Because if it's not nourishing your life, why the hell, my darling, are you still pouring it into it? Because this is not just for you and your next 20 years. This is also directing all of us who are conscious, who are no longer the unconscious, who are into the conscious of understanding the oneness and the wholeness as we move forward. This is about consciously starting to redirect mankind in a healthier way. And that has everything to do with Chiron moving in the next 2 weeks. So this is a very powerful move. But with that being said, we are still working through some karmic energies, some denial energies, the skeletons in the closet that I've been talking about for a while. And that must be so in order for us to move forward with what we're going through. Because in order for us to take the water bearer and bring that healing water forward, we have to bring the skeletons out of the closet. Now, I also was given runes for this week. It's Sawilo, it is Lagus, and it is Nothis. Now, I think it's funny because Nothis also has the same symbol in a form as Zion. See, Spirit has a way of doing funny little things to make sure that I get the right information to you. Now, I will give you, a lot of this has to do with understanding you have to be committed to what you really want to make this happen. But this can happen as long as you're being honest with yourself and your truths, coming through your denials and moving forward. So let me just start off with Lagus. Lagus is speaking to us of our waters, our inner waters, our life force, the existence of the unknown and the feeling body. It is our unconscious depths of self. It is the healing water of renewal. It speaks to us of our psychic intuition and psychic matters. It is also release, surrender, and let go. But it focuses on emotional, creative, and spiritual energy in general. Then you have Sawilo. Sawilo is the light being brought forward. It speaks to us of the loss of illusion, the loss of the ice, the loss of the stagnant energy, the loss of the cold. It points to the revelation of the clear direction. It speaks to us of the journey over water and of finding one's way. It is the rune of navigation, finding the proper direction. That's what this week is about. So you might still be given some of those which are going to point you in the right direction, but it has to come forward in such a way to get you moving in the right direction. It is a sense of self-worth, positive course of action. It reminds us that education is of good fortune as well. So finding out some information you may not wish to have might be the education that you need within the situation. But it is setting those new goals and pursuing them. However, we are reminded Nothis, which is also the same as Zion, and it speaks to us of our karmic obstacles. It speaks to us of warming the cold from within, changing stress into strength. And every challenge is nothing more than a measure of your own hidden strengths. It speaks to us of the resistance and friction that we deal with as we work from understanding we need to warm the fire from within. It is realization that what you thought you lacked from within inside of you was always a part of you. You just had not yet found it and discovered it. So it speaks to us of the need, determination, and endurance that it takes to move forward. Now, with that being said, like I said, Chiron on the 18th is going to be moving into Aries, and it will start, maybe not a full 100-year cycle, but it's going to be starting I don't know if it's going to be a little more or a little less than a 100-year cycle, because Chiron pretty much is going to be spending like 8 to 10 years in every sign. So almost a decade. Now, in Aries, it'll start off, in a very bold spot, and learning from the mistakes that it's even going to have to correct within each and every one of us. But that's still 2 weeks down the road, and we'll get into that when we get there. This is its last chance of finishing this cycle that it was in, getting into all those karmic debts, all of your hidden secrets from others as well as from yourself, your denials, your skeletons in the closet, all that you have placed so nicely in the closet and allowed yourself to forget about. That stuff's all coming up, and it has to come up, because if you don't heal that underworld within you by the 18th, I love you, baby, there's a good chance you won't heal it ever, because you're going to have to work through all 12 cycles again to get back there. And that may be over 100 years, and you may not be alive. So it's important to really deal with these issues at this time. Now, with that being said, Venus is moving out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn on the 3rd, which is Sunday. You also have Vista, which is your soul fire itself, okay? It is moving into Pisces right before Chiron moves out. So it's going to amp up that energy a little bit and jump into that Neptune's energy just a little bit, because Vista is the soul fire itself. It's the home and the hearth. So it's going to rev it up for that last week that it's there before Chiron moves. Trust me, count on that. And you sensitives are going to feel that shift. You're going to feel the shift when Chiron moves out on the 18th. Promise you. It's not a bad thing. I'm just promising you, you're going to feel the shift of energy. Now, throughout this week, the moon is going from Sagittarius, and then it's going to move into Capricorn, and then it's going to move into Aquarius. In Sagittarius, pretty much from the 29th through most of the day of the 31st, you're going to... The moon in Capricorn it wants to try new things. It wants to learn new things. It wants to experience and play in such a way while it's still learning. It wants to enjoy that learning experience. It wants to enjoy that weekend getaway, so to speak. It wants to have that oomph right then. But then when it comes back to Capricorn on the 1st and the 2nd, it's kind of like gets grounded really fast and let me organize everything I need to organize and make sure that all my foundations and everything is, set and sturdy and we're good. And we start looking at it from that point of view. And then we move into Aquarius, we get rebellious again, and we're ready to, that emotional energy is ready to just take on the world, and let that rebellious energy out and tell you how I really feel. Now again, Aquarius is definitely an energy right now for you to pay attention to. I mean, I'm being given the water bearer for a reason. Now, all week long, we do have a T-square. And that T-square is more than just a week long. This is kind of what you would view negative energies that kind of are coming together in a form of helping you. If you can overcome those negative energies, it can become a positive energy as you move forward. But it's a challenging energy. It's not easy. And this T-square is going to be lasting until February 3rd. But on February 10th, it will hit its maximum height. Now, the energies of this T-square is Mars and Aries, speaking to Pluto in Capricorn, speaking to the North Node in Cancer. That's your 1st, your 10th, and your 4th houses, if we're looking at it from a universal standpoint, because I'm doing the video for everyone. So obviously, if you know your own astrology, it will make some changes, because it won't be set directly for the universal standpoint. You could be looking at it for your own personal chart. But let me help you understand. Mars is the warrior. It is your inner SWAT team. It is your passion. It's your action. It's your aggression. It's your fire. And it's in its home sign of Aries. So it's in full throttle of power right now. But here's the kicker. As this energy of this T-square grows and matures, it's coming closer to Eris and Uranus. Eris and Uranus are sitting on top of one another right now, before Uranus moves in March. into Taurus. Uranus is your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, your inventive nature. And Eris is strife, trouble, and toil. It's where you still point fingers for where you haven't been able to find the authentic self within you. Where you haven't been able to rise it up. And what's cock blocked you in some form of a way. What hurt you and you're still pointing fingers at it and going, that's why I'm the way I am. This is a lesson about not pointing fingers. Shit may have happened in our life that did cock block us from our independence, our individuality, our uniqueness, our freedom, our inventive nature. There's things that are going to happen to each and every one of us. However, we have to take our own responsibilities for our own actions. And that trouble and toil coming out of Eris is like ego, trying to keep you from evolving. And it's really important right now to find out if it's a narcissistic side that's coming up and out or an ego side that's coming up and out, more or less, so that you can heal this as it moves forward and gets ready to leave Aries. But more importantly, with this T-square, it's going to be adding emphasis behind Mars's energy at this time, which is your passion, your action, your aggression, your fire, your sexual energy. The inner SWAT team within is being backed up with aggression on top of aggression that it already has from Mars. Because that's what it is. It's fire, aggression, fire, passion, and action. Now it's got trouble, toil, and strife stepping in and asking it, well, maybe you didn't get this because of this. You know, just pointing fingers and trying to get an edge out of you. Trying to get you to, get extra passionate in a negative way. And it's speaking to Pluto, which is still in Capricorn, which is our outer community. It is political situations. It's the political arena. It is our jobs. It is also, if you want to look at it that way, because it is the outer community, it is our jobs, it is the political arena, it is our core outer universe. It is what we have to deal with. It is our dreams, our hopes, our teams, our groups of everything that's outside of the home and what you have to tolerate. And what is Mars going to get all passionate and aggression and action about? Because the North Node is more or less giving it the it's saying no. This is you having an attitude. This is not doing it for the right reasons. And it's going to be pointing out to you if you're doing stuff for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, for the egotistical reasons, for the finger pointing, strife, trouble, and toil reasons, because it's trying to, hey, talk in your head to Uranus, so Uranus will talk in your head to Mars and get you to act up about things that really aren't as important. But are they? Like I said, we're going back to Zion. Zion also speaks to us of what we need to cut away. What we need to cut away to nourish our life properly. What we need to sustain our life. And we're looking at the next 2 weeks prior to Chiron moving. This is an incredibly powerful energy right now. But you have to be able to be clear as to which ones are the soulful ones and which ones are the wrong ones. And like I said, the North Node in Cancer is going to be speaking to you about your karmic debts. Okay? These are karmic debts that are going to be coming up, poking you beneath the belt. My cat wanted in. Poking you beneath the belt and seeing how you'll act, and will you act soulfully with soulful maturity or not? Because that all has to do with how we are resetting the next 100 years, not just the next 20. And as we move forward, are we going to spiritually mature and grow? That's what this energy is really coming down to being about. Now, before I go into my chain reactions and all the other information, I will state, like I said, we do have a chain reaction which is going to have Aquarius in it this week. But more importantly, I've been being pushed back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth to keep looking at Kokub and the Polaris star, which is on that dragon's tail, and what it has to communicate to us. And both of those areas are coming out of Gemini and coming out of Leo. Now, most people are never going to be talking about this, and I do mean it in that way. Most people aren't talking about this at all. I'm only talking about it because Spirit puts it to me that way. Now, the energy of both the Polaris star and the energy of Kokub is... It's actually twice, it's like 3 times the energy of the sun. It's bigger illumination than what the sun really is. It's a much more powerful illumination with creativity behind it. And then it also speaks to us of rules, walls, and boundaries, just like Saturn, mixed in with that illumination, that core energy. And it speaks to us also of our sensitivities within all of that. So it's like the 3 in 1 actual spot. And they're coming out of both Gemini and both Leo. And both of them are speaking directly to Aquarius this week. And the energies going on with the Sun and with Mercury and with Lilith that are in Aquarius. It is speaking to illumination on illumination. Illumination, creativity, and rules, walls, and boundaries, and sensitivity on top of illumination and communication with the outer world. They are, one of them is trining, one of them is squaring. So it's creating another T-square, more or less, that nobody else is going to be speaking about. This is because Spirit is pointing it out to me, not a square opposition. But it will be creating more or less another T-square for all of this time right now, till I'm told differently, which is bringing, like I said, the sun core sensitivity and rules, walls, and boundaries are really focusing on that outer community and really having illumination on top of illumination. And are you using communication properly? Okay, that's the energies that I'm getting right now. It's magnified because it's trying to validate, are you evolving or not? Are you stepping up to the plate as a light worker and doing your job or not? Basically, like I said, we are setting not just a situation for the next 8 years with our relationships, or the next 20, as most people want to talk about. This is actually a reset that's redirecting mankind for the next 100 years. Are you spiritually maturing? And that's the question right now. Because the communication and the illumination coming out of Aquarius is being backed up by Lilith. Lilith can be a very powerful ally. She can take you also in very much the wrong direction. Depends on how you use that energy of Lilith. She's like the first feminist. I know exactly how I feel, and I have absolutely no problem telling you all about it. I know exactly what I want and what I think and what I'm after, and I have no problem going for it. But are you going for it for the right reasons? That's where Lilith, I'm sorry Lilith, but that's where Lilith gets a little cockeyed. Because she does have a problem with ego. Okay? But she can help move you in the right direction and give you that strength and that power within that illumination for that outer community and back you up in positive ways. Just make sure you're not using it in an egotistical way. Because if you are, in the long run, that is going to backfire. Now, you do have a chain reaction of Mars, like I said, is going to be picking up energy closer as we get throughout the week to Uranus and Eris. Mars in this chain reaction is speaking directly to Lilith. But like I said, it is also going to be speaking of the sun's energy and that Mercury communication, especially on the 2nd and the 3rd. And it is having a conversation with Jupiter. Okay? So Jupiter is the higher knowledge here. In its home sign of Sagittarius, speaking to the soul itself. Okay? Speaking to the higher self. Speaking to the higher knowledge. And the magnification of that higher knowledge coming to you. Alright? Right now, it's speaking to Lilith about making sure you're able to comprehend and step up to the plate and go after what you want. Get your core behind it. Get your shine and your glow behind it and your proper communication. If you are using Lilith in a proper way, you can use that Mars energy to help direct you in such a powerful new direction. But the key, I said, is Are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you doing it for the soulful reasons right now? Because that is the kicker that can prolong you and, you know, set you so far in the future or kick you so far back that you're going to be in that quicksand I was talking about for weeks. I said Chiron is moving out of Pisces. Once he moves out of Pisces, the quicksand is closed for good. Okay? I'm helping you comprehend the power of this. Now, you also have Neptune this week, which is getting along wonderfully with Saturn. It is sextiling it. Neptune and Saturn are sextiling. So, Neptune's giving you new ideas of creating new rules, walls, and boundaries in those outer communities and got new ways to go for it. And how do I shift this and make my boundaries work for me? And how do I take the magical oomph and create the proper illusion for the outer world to get what I want? And that is a great thing. Like I said, it's all about ego in that long run. This is a wonderful way to start moving it, because trust me, Saturn is going to be getting influenced by Pluto, because it's coming closer to it in Capricorn, which is also talking again with your not just your rules, your walls, your boundaries, but it's in Capricorn. So it's talking about the new foundations you're trying to create in your outer communities, which could be your jobs and political arena in general, so to speak. You know, the outer world of what you have within your life. Pluto is going to be talking about the death, decay, and destruction for the renewal, rebirth, and regeneration that has to happen. Has to happen. You're not at, let me think about it happening anymore. This shit has to happen, more or less, is where we're at. And it's going to be from a spiritual, soulful place. How do we turn the outer community soulful again? How do we start making changes that are healthy for everyone involved, not just myself? That's what we're trying to view this as. How do we move forward, especially like with careers, and still make money and still be healthy and still do it in an actual spiritual, soulful, healthy way and move forward? This is what we're moving towards. Now, you also have a chain reaction of the North Node is trining Chiron. So the North Node is your home right now. It is your karmic debts. It's too close to home in some cases. And it's speaking of what you have to learn about yourself in order to move forward. Speaking to Chiron, perfect, in a trine. The wounded healer and the gatekeeper of wholeness. The things that the gatekeeper of wholeness is trying to get under wraps and, you know, bury, so that it's buried and put to rest in the first place. But it's not getting along with Venus. So it is going to be touching those uncomfortable sensitivities that have to be healed. And it's best for you to listen to your soul, listen to your intuition, and understand the underlying depths that are hidden there from within. That is the Lagos energy that's coming up in the runes this week and trying to help you move forward, because it is about healing. It's just getting into sensitivities you probably don't want to deal with. And lastly, you have Neptune, which is not getting along with Jupiter. Neptune is going to be trying to influence Jupiter to look into delusional areas that you know aren't real, aren't going to work for you, already didn't work for you. Try to evaluate that, because your higher self knows what you need. Not Mercury, but Neptune is magic in creative ways. And if you're still creating from ill magic because you don't want to deal with those sensitivities, love, and you don't want to heal them, then you're only making yourself take 3 steps backwards instead of 3 steps forwards. Jupiter has the information you need. Your higher self has the information you need. Use your intuition. Use your intuition, your psychic energies, your heart and your soul, and listen to what your higher self has to say. It won't lead you wrong. I love you. See you next week. Bye, everybody.